Hi, everybody. Welcome to the LOCUS Golden Hour podcast. My name is Kristina.
And I'm Lina.
And we are your hosts. So, this podcast is about sharing stories, advice, tips, and all things surrounding university and student life. Today, we have a special guest with us to chat about midterm season. So, Joel, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. My name is Joel. I'm a second-year data science student here at the Waterloo campus at Laurier, and I'm also the Locus 6 Community OCA this year.
Great, cool. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we like to start with a little bit of an icebreaker question. So what fictional character would you want to be and why?
I did a lot of thinking about this one. I don't know if you guys have seen Naruto, but I would fully be Sasuke from Naruto if I could.
Okay.
Sasuke? I thought you were going to say Naruto.
No, Sasuke is like Sasuke or Shikamaru, the top tier characters.
Okay.
I feel shameful to say that I've watched a lot of anime, but I haven't watched Naruto. It's like the one I haven't watched.
Yeah. I've watched like bits and pieces. Isn't it like kind of long?
Yeah, it's long, but I think it's worth it.
220 episodes, but apparently a lot of them are fillers.
I like fillers. Do you like fillers?
You watch like every single?
You're not a fan of?
No,
I like filler. I don't know. There's no point of it?
No, they don't add on to the story really. So
I feel like the filler episodes are fun though.
True. I like some of the filler episodes, but
like sometimes it's like them going on an adventure, like a side quest or something. And
like they go into a backstory.
yeah, backstory. I like that stuff.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think if it's like too much filler, then that's annoying, but I don't mind a little sprinkle of filler, you know?
True, yeah. But like Naruto has like episodes on episodes of filler episodes. So like it gets annoying at some point, but like the story is really good.
Okay, you like the action then?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't mind filler episodes, but I think sometimes it's nice to watch even if it's not so important. Oh my God, it's like if our life is a show and every episode matters, even if it's a filler.
That's so deep.
Let's get deeper. Lina, what fictional character would you be?
I would say like Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know if you watched it. Like, I just want to be a waterbender, to be honest. And I would say like I'm, the person who keeps the group together, like plans the events, maybe a little bit of the mom of the group. Yeah, I don't know. A little stubborn, but also it turns into like, I guess, determination more like it. Yeah, I think like I relate to like her determination, maybe like a little bit stubbornness as well. But yeah, I think like she's like a strong, independent character, like I'm gonna fight and heal. But like I don't know. Yeah, I kind of relate to her like characteristics of like, strong mental game kind of. So yeah, I would say Katara. What about you, Kristina?
I can't think of a character that I relate to or I think is like me. I can think of a character that I think is really cool that I'm nothing like, but would be fun to be. Because you mentioned Avatar, I'm thinking like Toph is really cool. I'm nothing like Toph, but she's so strong and doesn't care about what other people think. I don't know. I'm nothing like her, but it would be fun to be her.
Yeah, I agree. She's like, I mean, wait, Joel, did you watch Avatar?
I have not.
Oh no, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not gonna say anything.
It's okay. You can spoil it. It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
I just think like she's like really cool. Like everything she does, like literally, she could like, I don't know, throw a rock at me and I'd be like, thank you.
She's also blind, but she's stronger. She's one of the stronger benders, even though she can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
You should watch it, Joel.
I might guess.
So anyways, midterm season's coming up. I don't know if that will I don't know if midterm season will allow you some time to watch Avatar, but you guys got any study tips?
Well, what I like to like during when I'm studying for midterms, I would like to just read over my notes. Is like the first thing I do, kind of go over what I need to know for my midterm. I look at the syllabus and like kind of my professors usually just give me like a midterm exam layout, what the exam's going to look like, what topics are going to be on the midterm. I like to look at that and then kind of go over that part of my notes, but that's kind of the first thing I usually do for midterms.
Nice. And then like after you like read your notes over, what's like your next step then?
Usually because I have a lot of math and kind of like computer science courses, so like practice problems that I have from the textbook, or like even retyping kind of different codes that I have, just making sure I'm like practicing the craft and stuff, so I'm like ready to do it tomorrow. Because like what usually on the test that I'm given, it's not like questions that I've done before, but it's using the same kind of solutions that I've done before. So as long as I practice the solutions, I should be able to do it on the midterm. So I just kind of repeat that, and then repetition usually just helps me memorize it.
That's really smart. I think like even if you're taking a course that doesn't include math, doing practice questions or quizzing yourself helps a lot, because I used to only read over my notes, or like because I type my notes. So I would write mine like on a notebook to help myself remember better rather than typing. But then if I didn't do practice questions, all I did was rewrite something that I had previously written. So like practice questions help me exercise the application more, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. I think like being able to like understand the process is really important, because like Joel, you said like you're not given the same question that you practice, but if you understand the process, you'll be able to do it. So like really understanding the whole thing will actually like help you be able to apply it on the exam, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then also what worked for me last year might not work for me this year. Also with the new, well, I know some people are in person again this year, but I'm still entirely online. But it would take a lot to get used to being in person again, if you hadn't been in-person classes in a long time. So what might work for you might not work. What works for you might not work for others. And that goes with all the study tips and stuff like that.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Kristina, like how you like typed your notes and then for studying you just rewrite your notes. I like really enjoy just writing down my notes in class, because that like helps me memorize it more than like typing it does. But yeah, that's just me. It could be different for anyone else.
For me, I write really slow, so typing is a lot faster.
That's fair.
And then also I make so many mistakes. So, and I like writing in pen. So I feel like it's just easier to backspace.
Yeah.
And the writing is messy too.
That makes sense. I like, for me, it depends on the class. Like if I can get the slides in advance and like if I can download them, like I have an iPad. So like if I want to take written notes, I'll like write on my iPad. But my handwriting's also messy. And like when the professor is talking really fast, like you really have to like summarize and like, you know, write the points down. So sometimes that can be hard. But then like some classes, it's just easier to type. So I think for me, it really depends. But in terms of like studying, I also kind of like to go over like my notes and then like either summarize or rewrite them. But I know like it's not very active studying when you're doing that. So like you need to do something else, as in like everyone was saying, like practice questions or like testing yourself. Like I definitely find that studying with a friend to like test me is really good. I like going back and forth and like coming up with questions that I think they'll ask on the exam.
Yeah. I think studying with a friend is really interesting, because like for some people it might be a distraction, but like if you study with a friend, they might know stuff that's going to be on the midterm, or like know some information that maybe you don't, and you guys can help each other like with that, and then through that you have more understanding of the material. So yeah, sometimes working with a friend can be really helpful.
What I like to do is spend some time studying alone, and then I go and quiz with a friend, because sometimes it's more counterproductive if you go into study with a friend and you both don't remember the material.
Yeah, it's exactly, like you both want to kind of know like what you're saying, because imagine like you ask a question like both of you don't know it, so like that like might not be productive. But like if you both kind of know it, you can help each other where like you need the most help, or like maybe one person knows it a bit better and like you're kind of hearing it in a different way. And I also think like for me at least, like I always remember what my friend says. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just talked about this with Kristina like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, what did she say? That's like what helps me when I'm studying with a friend. But I know it can be really distracting. So I think like setting like timers or just being like, okay, let's grind for like this 1 hour and then we'll like take a break together, or like we can chat on our like off breaks of like 5 minutes and 25 we'll like study. So like I know it can be tough because like you want to just chat about like literally anything else, but hopefully like if you are productive with your friend, like I definitely recommend like quizzing each other.
You could even have go ahead,
Oh,
Joel.
sorry, go ahead. Oh, sorry. I remember last year for like my econ exam, me and my friend were texting, and then we both wanted to focus, but we were going so off topic. So we said, okay, what we're going to do 25 minutes on of studying, and then 5 minutes we'll text for that 5 minutes, kind of go off topic, or if you even want to talk about the material, go for it. Then another 25 minutes, another 5 minutes back and forth. We just kept doing that for the rest of the night. And it actually went off really well. Like we were able to focus on the material for a good 25 minutes. So it was nice.
The Pomodoro Technique, that's what it's called, right?
Yes, I literally use that all the time, even when I'm sitting alone.
It's good.
It's called that because it's supposed to be like a little Pomodoro timer, right?
Like a tomato timer.
Yeah, a tomato timer.
Yeah, you can find a lot of those like on like the internet. There's like also like this other thing where you can like study with like a celebrity, or like put like it's like a Pomodoro timer and you can just like the person studying, it's like you're on a call or whatever. if you don't want to study with a friend.
Oh yeah, like if you just want company but you don't actually want to talk because it distracts you.
Yeah, it's called, oh sorry Christina, keep going.
Oh no, I was just thinking like then you could go into those Zoom study sessions where nobody talks, but like people have their camera on, so it makes you feel like you have to be held accountable. I saw one on YouTube that was for K-pop fans listening. If you like BTS, I saw one on YouTube that was like, it looked like a Zoom call and it was all the BTS members looking like they were studying.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's called life.io. I don't know. It's like I was intrigued, so I went on to like go see it, and it was like kind of cool. Like you don't have to like study with a person. Like you can just be like a background if you like summer like chill, and then if you want to listen to music, they provide music too. But I like Blackpink. They're like a K-pop band, and they had like Rose, one of the members. It looks like she's studying, so I was like, let me try this, and it's Pomodoro. So I was like, this is kind of cool. Like if I don't have friends to study with, I'll just study with Rose. Like so
awesome.
Studying with Rose.
It's really funny, like, oh, I'm just studying with Rose, the most popular girl ever, like, I don't know.
I know some people even have Discord servers with their friends where they have like a channel that's just called like study hall or something. So then they just go into the voice channel but are deafened or on mute. And then it's just nice to have company sometimes. Even if you're not taking the same course as them, you can just study together.
You were talking about kind of Zoom calls earlier, and I wanted to just bring up that the Zoom study sessions that professors like hold, or even like TAs or IAs, those are so useful. Even if you don't have any questions, someone else might have a question that you didn't even think of. So like you can get a ton of information about the midterm or like any other questions just from the study sessions.
I think the best thing you can do is go to events and resources that are offered to you because they're there to help. Like they can't do more harm than good. They can only help you. I think sometimes it might be hard to study in your room because if your bed is right there, it's so tempting to just like jump over there and go take a nap. But so sometimes it's easier to study on campus too. I remember in my first year when I'd be on campus all the time, I would study in between my classes. Say I had one that was like 8:30 to 11:30 and my next class was at like 2:30. I would just stay on campus in between then. And then when my last class is finished, I just go home and then I'm done for the day. So do you guys have any secret study spots on campus at the Waterloo campus? Because I know some on Brantford, but I don't know anything about the Waterloo campus.
We know this is all you. This is my first year on campus.
Yes, I do have a secret study spot, but if I reveal it, it's not secret anymore. I'm kidding. No, I'll definitely share. My one of my favorite study spots would be in the Peters building. That's where like the teaching and learning center is, and on I think it's the third floor. To be honest, it's been a while. So on the third floor of the Peters building, that's also where like the teaching and learning center is located. There's this like nub, like this little like area that has like 4 little individual study spots. It's like a little cubicle, kind of like office vibes, but like it's just such a nice place to study just because like it's really quiet. It's a place where you can individual study and like really grind. Like I just like the vibes of the Peters building a lot. It's like a really pretty like bright building, which like I don't know, I feel like it makes me happy, like all the colors and stuff. And same thing with LAS, like they have a lot of really good individual study areas, or like if you were studying in a group and you could there's like individual study spots that are like also made of glass, and there's like window, like not window, there's like sunlight that comes in from the top. So I personally like to study in the Peters building and LAS. Those are my like top two not so secret soft spots.
The science building also is really good. They have a bunch of desks just set out for people to study there, and then there's like this aquarium just behind it, which is just really nice to look at. But yeah, it's a really nice spot. I find myself studying there a lot.
An aquarium?
Or a fish tank, sorry, not an aquarium, like a really big fish tank.
It's just a fish tank, but it's still nice. It's still really nice.
I just didn't think of the word at the moment. I said aquarium. My bad.
Wait, that's still so cool though. I would get distracted and just watch the fish all day. The one really cool thing we have in a building here on the Brantford campus is a plant wall in the RCW, the Research and Academic Center. That's like kind of the main hub of campus because there's so many classes there. We have the biggest lecture halls there. And by biggest, I mean 200 people. So I feel like you guys have a lot bigger lecture halls on your campus. But there's a plant wall there. Like it's just a bunch of like leaves and vines growing on the wall. Yeah, that was my favorite building to study because most of my classes were there. They have a bunch of little tables and little cubbies so you can feel more in your own space. But I think there's a bunch of other ones in the S.C. Johnson building. If you guys don't know, on the Brantford campus, it's all old buildings like that were from the city of Brantford that Laurier bought, and they were just repurposed. So the One Market Study Lounge was a mall that was bought. I guess it was called like a one market, like the actual mall. And so Laurier bought it, and now one of the big sections of the mall is a study space. And there's like tutorial rooms there and stuff. And it's really nice. Like Lina, you said you like the colorfulness of that one place that you go to. There's a lot of colorful like squares in the carpet. And even if there's not a lot of windows, it's bright. So yeah, it's like how I don't think I can work on a gloomy day.
That's so really cool. Nice. That sounds like really nice. I think also, Kristina, isn't there something opening up really soon in Brantford?
There is, in the same place in that mall that Laurier bought. In One Market, there's a games lounge. So I don't know if that's open yet, but I heard it would be open around the end of the month, which is now. If you guys are listening to this podcast later, right now we're recording it at the end of September. So it should be open by then. It's a games lounge that has like a bunch of consoles, like video games you can play. And I don't know what else is there, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can do. And I will for sure be going there on campus.
I think there's also like study spots. Like I think like there's like the games area in the front, and then like this like tables, I guess. So it might be a bit louder in terms of studying, but if you like the background noise, like I think that could be a cool place to study.
A lot of cooler places on campus. I missed it last year being online. I was just like in my room at this very desk for all hours of the day.
Yeah, it was a grand old time. Like when I was at home, like when it wasn't during lockdown, I had this YMCA kind of close by to my house, and that had like the library there. That was always a good study spot for me to go to because it was chill there. There were people there, so I knew I wasn't the only one working, but it was really nice there and I could focus on my work.
Yeah, sometimes I want to go out and study, but I don't always like, you know, when you go to a coffee shop, you have to buy something. Sometimes I don't want to spend money on a $6 coffee. So the YMCA in Brantford too, it's one of the first partnerships with the university, I think, the Y here. But they have at the very top floor, and it's like surrounded by glass, you can kind of see the street. There's a study space, and you can only get up there with your Laurier 1 card. So it's like student safe up there, even though it's a public building. So that's also a good place that you just reminded me of.
That's awesome.
In terms of like outside, like off campus, like study spaces, I know we talked about like, you know, if you don't want to spend money, but like, is there a study spot that you like off campus?
I'm trying to think.
Personally, like I like bubble tea places. Like, there's this place in Waterloo called Now Tea. Well, when they had tables set up, it was a really great study spot because there's like outlets. There's like outlets so you can like charge your laptop, and I mean bubble tea and study, like that to me is a great thing. So if I wanted to get something, I would definitely go to the bubble tea shops.
That sounds like the dream. That sounds amazing.
I wish there were more bubble tea spots in Brantford. There are currently 2.
There's like lots here. I like haven't even been to that bubble tea place yet. That's crazy.
Got a lot to try.
Turn the corner, bubble tea spot. Turn the corner, bubble tea spot.
I'm
Same
so jealous.
plaza. There's like 2 in the same plaza. I was like, wow, who thought that would be a good idea? But go off anyways.
Go off, I guess.
Joel, since it's your second year and your first year was entirely online, have you figured out if you like to study on campus or like at home better, since you've had like both experiences?
I'm a big fan of like learning in person. I think it just makes it easier for me because I get easily distracted. So like with my bed behind me and with like everything else around me, I get easily distracted when I'm at home, like in my room. So like even like when I'm studying just on campus or in a lecture, I find it a lot easier for me.
I'm also missing in-person classes right now because I'm at Conestoga for my 3rd year, but I'm still a Laurier student. Like it's part of my program. But this course is delivered online, whether or not COVID was a thing, because it's just an online program. And I miss going to campus so much. I'm in Zoom classes all the time.
Yeah, same here. I don't know, I feel like there's so many distractions, even if you remove them. Like I can literally like put my like phone, like throw it across the room and like lock it somewhere. But then like, I don't know, I'll get distracted by like the little things the knickknacks on my desk, or like, I don't know. It's like, since everything's online, like it's just crazy. You have like 50 tabs open. Yeah.
I have a ridiculous amount of tabs open. It's unreal.
Oh, I can't do that. If there's too many tabs open, like I have to close it. I can only have what I need open.
I have like 7 different windows open too, of like 20 tabs each. Like it's ridiculous.
I cannot do that.
Me too. And like it's weird because like I hate it, but like I need to have all of the tabs, and like, you know how you can like close it and then like the history like bring it up. Like I just don't want to do that. I'm like, oh, like it won't save. Like I know it saves all my work and everything, but like I'm just like, no, I need to have them open, like quick access.
Exactly.
You have it like where you left the window. Exactly.
Yeah, literally. And then like, oh my gosh, like I have so many applications open, like I just have to remember to close them because they'll like slow down my computer when I'm on like meetings and stuff.
Yeah, it's a fun time, man. It's a fun time.
If I ever got distracted in my room, I would take my laptop and then go downstairs and like try to work on the couch. And living with roommates, it made it a little bit easier because we all are in work mode during the day.
That's smart. Yeah. Can you hear the geese in the background?
I heard that a little bit.
Well, welcome to Waterloo. You can hear the geese in the background. For context for our listeners, if you couldn't tell, I'm outside right now in a very nice study spot. Actually, it's like right outside the library, and it's like in the fall/summer or like warmer months. Like this is a really nice study spot. You can hear the geese outside. But yeah, I was gonna say like that's like really smart too, because I feel like when my room, like my room kind of reflects like how like the state I'm in. Like if it's a bit messier, like it's like midterm season. But I think it's like really nice if you like clean your spot up because like you feel good, like you don't have to like search for things or like it's not like a chaotic mess when you're trying to like type on your laptop. So maybe even like cleaning your room to get you started, I feel like kind of starts you off in a nice spot because you're like, oh, I was productive, I got something done. So that could be a good strategy to use as well.
You just reminded me to clean my room. I have
I do too.
the clothes on the ground.
Yeah. Come on.
If you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to clean your room. It'll help you with school.
It helps, yeah. Like whenever I clean my desk, like just looking at a clean desk is so satisfying. It's so nice to look at.
When like someone comes over and then you have the sudden urge to just clean? That's how I feel right now because we're talking about clearing our spaces. So it's been a while since I've taken an exam or a test of any sort because we had the whole summer and I didn't take any summer courses. So I'm a little bit nervous. Do you guys have any stories about midterms or tests? Like maybe like a horror story, but then a silver lining to it, or just something funny to share?
I've had a few bad midterms. Well, like this one midterm, I don't know if you guys have used web work before, but like you'll get the answer like right away. So you'll find out whether you got the answer or not right away. So like the first few questions I was doing, I thought I was doing fine, but then I like entered it and then it kept giving me the wrong answer. And this is bad back then, but I like used to panic. Like it happened during my G1 test as well. Like if I got a few wrong answers, I would start to panic and then I would like lose track in my head. So I was kind of like losing track of what I was doing, just kind of writing down whatever for these questions. And it was like continuing during like the rest of my test. So it kind of went downhill from there, but the exams later on kind of went better.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like the first few, like you just don't know what to expect, and then like it's hard to like no matter how many people you listen to, you don't know until you experience it yourself. And so like everyone's experience is really different, and like there's been midterms where I've like done so poorly and I was like, what the heck happened? Like where did I go wrong? Like was it my studying, or like did I start soon enough, or like what was wrong? Like, and I think hopefully like every time, like I guess you learn from every time you do it. You'll be able to experience different things because every class is also different in the format they give it. So like, Joel was talking about like web work, and then there's ones where it's like all like a paragraph, maybe it's a take home exam, or like multiple choice. So like, I don't know, I think it's very different. But I guess you can kind of like learn from your experience, even if it doesn't go too well the first time.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with the difference with online and in-person exams, like I haven't filled out a Scantron sheet in so long. But it's a different environment, like being surrounded by everybody in like a quiet room and your prof is at the front of the room. But I know even for online tests and stuff, we had a lockdown browser. So, you have to show your room in the camera. And then if you're using a piece of paper, you have to show the piece of paper. But I don't remember where I was going with that. But yeah, it's different in person or online, but you get the hang of it, even if you're not used to it.
I actually have a story about like lockdown browser. Like the practice quiz they make you do about lockdown browser. So for like first year students who haven't done it yet, like essentially like you get to practice using Respondus lockdown browser. It's just asks you a question about like what you can do, like if stuff goes wrong, essentially just to make sure it works, right? So like this was like, I think we had 2 midterms in that class, so it was like the second one, and I was like, it's been working fine. Like they usually recommend you to do the practice one every single time you have a test to make sure it's like updated, but like that time like I didn't, and I was like, it's fine, like I've never like redone it in my like other classes or whatever. So like, it's midterm time, like I don't even know, maybe it was 7 o'clock, I don't remember, but so I go in and like open it, and then it like isn't working, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So I'm like freaking out because like I literally didn't know what to do, even though like, you know, they're like, okay, you can email this person or like do this when things go wrong. So I'm like panicking, whatever. It turns out I need to update it. So I was like, how long is this gonna take to update? It took like, I don't know, it felt like 10 minutes. Maybe I feel like it wasn't that long, but like I say like 5 to 7 minutes to update. And I was like, oh my gosh, because the period you can start your exam is like, I think for this class was like 30 minutes. So like 10 minutes out of that, and then you have to do like the environmental scan and like everything else when you get in. So I was like freaking out, whatever. So obviously like it's updating, whatever, I get it, and like everything's fine. But I think the moral of the story I'm trying to say is do the practice exam, or just make sure your technology is working before. Like, don't assume. Like, after the experience, I've always done the practice quiz like no matter what, and it's always like usually working. But it's like that one time that you didn't do it and then it just like doesn't go right, or sorry, yeah, so it didn't go right that time. So for everyone listening, do your practice quiz.
Moral of the story: do practice quiz and don't panic. Or try not to panic.
I have kind of another story about not doing the practice quiz. I was visiting my friend all the way at UFT, and I was not near home at all. I didn't have any of my stuff with me. And then I'm just checking my phone, just casually checking my email. Then I see an email from my linear algebra prof. He's like, hey, just to the general population of students, remember there's a practice quiz due tonight. If you don't write this, you can't write the actual midterm. And then it's like 11:15 and it's due at midnight, and I have none of my stuff with me. So I'm like freaking out with my friend, and I download Respondus lockdown browser on his computer, even though he didn't really trust it. I ended up having a camera in my bag because I got it in to get fixed. So I got lucky with that. And then I was like rushing to get this done. I printed off like grade scope papers from my friend's printer. I wrote down whatever answers they asked for, and I got it in just on time. But
Oh my
it was
goodness.
like one of the scariest
Whoa.
moments of my life. It was the worst. But yeah, make sure, check if you have practice quizzes and get them done.
Wow, I'm glad you got it into. I was really stressed listening to the story. I was like, I hope it has a good ending.
No, I was able to write the midterm, thankfully. What was the worst part about it was like the next day he's like, actually, I'm just gonna extend the deadline for the practice quiz. So it was not fun.
At least you still got it in.
At least, yeah, thank God.
I kind of have a story like that, but about an in-person exam. So for one of my classes in first year, it was one of my first midterm tests ever, I think. It was in first semester for sure. And the actual midterm was in a different room than we normally had class, because we had it in a smaller room, but then the test was in a bigger lecture hall, so we could be spaced apart better. But I went to the normal room because I guess I forgot, or I didn't hear that my prof said it's in a different room. So I was waiting outside. I was like, I usually go early anyways, but I went there early and nobody was there. So I was like, okay, it's just because I'm early. I love how I just saw someone walk behind me.
Me too.
So I'm usually there early and no one was there, so I thought it was fine. But then the actual time for the test was approaching and nobody else was there. So I was like, something is wrong. And I messaged one of my friends who's also in that class. I was like, where are you? And he was like, where are you? And so luckily it was in the same building, and I just like went downstairs and my whole class was waiting outside the lecture hall there. But it could have been bad if I didn't have anyone to talk to in that class and I was just waiting outside the wrong room. I remember in that exam as well, you know, at the top where you put your name and then your instructor's name, or any other information, he gave us extra points if we spelled his last name right, because it's a more difficult last name. And he thought it was important that you know your professor's name, like how to spell it, what titles they like to go by and whatnot. So apparently out of, I think it was a class of 70 or 80 people, like 20 people remembered how to spell his name. And luckily I was one of them. So yeah, I could spell my professor's last name and I got like an extra bonus mark for it. But yeah, that's basically my story.
That's
So
awesome.
everyone should remember how to spell your professor's name if it's hard,
Yeah,
essentially.
They might like that you remember it. Yeah.
That's a good idea. I was just saying also, like, I had another story about like an exam. I was writing it, it was in person, and it was like you're supposed to transfer your answers for the multiple choice to the Scantron, but apparently I didn't see the Scantron and like all of the, which is so weird. Like I flipped through everything, or like I don't remember like what happened exactly, but I just wrote my answers in the wrong spot is the moral of the story. So at the end, everyone was talking like, oh, like, yeah, like whatever. And then I realized there was a Scantron or something. And then I like emailed my professor and I was like explaining, like, I'm sorry, like I didn't see it. Like, can you still mark it? Whatever. Like, obviously the nice, whatever email way, professional like email. But that it turns out a lot of students like didn't write their answers like in the right spot. So they obviously marked it. But I guess the more of the story is make sure you like listen to instructions, make sure you check all the pages, and make sure you put your answers in the right spot. Because if you don't, like, they won't mark it sometimes. Usually they're nice, but like obviously don't like purposely write it somewhere else. I know like sometimes you have to like write in like your final answer in one spot and then like your rough work in the other spot, and they'll mark like certain things. So like just be aware of that. Don't be like me.
It's like one of those classic memes. Have you seen where it's like, dude, what answer did you get on the question on the back? It was like, there was a back. Check every side of every page.
Dude, yeah, it's important to check all the page. My friend, this was high school, but still, my friend missed a whole page of our math exam just because he didn't check the pages, which is ridiculous. That's a lot of questions.
That's why sometimes when I finish too quick, I get nervous. I'm like, I feel like I did something wrong. Like when I finish and I sit there and everyone's still writing, I'm like, I definitely did something wrong. And I just look over it, look at every page multiple times.
You know, like if you're in person, they have like a page with like, okay, there's like 12 pages in the exam document. Like tip, check if there's 12 pages. Like that's the point. That's why it's there. So like just in case maybe your package is missing something, that's why it's there. So like I would say like what I started doing was like going through all the pages, seeing like, okay, like this is the multiple choice place and this is like the short answer, and making sure like everything's there and that I know like this is the whole exam, so I don't actually miss the page or anything. So that's why that exists. And you probably should check if it's all good.
So by the time this episode comes out, it should be around the end of reading week, I think. So I hope my future self has used reading week to the best of my ability. But do you guys have any tips for making the most out of your reading week and also having a good balance of resting? Because I know it's very much well needed.
Yeah. I think just balancing out your whole week is important. Maybe on one day focus on one subject, maybe the next day focus on another, not kind of loading yourself with either the last days where you're going to study the whole time, but like kind of just spreading it out throughout the week, I think is important.
Yeah, like planning ahead. What I like to do when I study and even write a paper is like on Monday, I'm going to study week 1 and 2. On Tuesday, I'm going to study week 3 and 4 and like go over the learning objectives and stuff. So planning your reading week out, maybe not by the day, depending on what works for you. But yeah, planning ahead and doing a little each day definitely helps.
Yeah, I agree. And like also just remember it's okay to rest. Like you need to have that balance as we spoke about. So like don't spend all of your time like grind. Like I mean it's good if you're grinding it every day like all the time, but like take breaks is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And like if you at the end like feel like you didn't accomplish that much, don't beat yourself up for that. I always find that like I don't know, after reading week, like usually I don't get that much done or like as much as I wanted to, but I've also come to like the realization like reading week is like meant to also be for a rest, because you like it's just a stressful time and I feel like you need to take care of like your physical and mental health as well, just as much as like your well-being and getting good grades or whatnot. So like it's okay if you just wasted I'm doing the bunny quotes for our listeners. Wasted your reading week. Because it's not wasted if you're like taking care of yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's really important. I think kind of forgot to bring it up for like study tests, but I think it's important to take breaks. Like during that, just kind of focus on your mental health, make sure you're feeling okay mentally. I think that's really important as you're studying.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's nice to give yourself a little treat too. Sometimes as an incentive for finishing something, but also just like treat yourself sometimes. I have my treat McFlurry from a Friday night, and it's Saturday morning right now. But yeah, sometimes it's good to treat yourself. Take care of yourself.
McDonald's always treats me right. It's beautiful.
McDonald's never fails me.
So
Thank
beautiful.
you, Ronald McDonald.
I can get a junior chicken and a drink for $5. It's so beautiful.
The student pricing.
I think, that's everything. Did anyone want to add any last minute thoughts about our midterm or like reading week or anything we talked about?
I think I'm good. I think just want to say good luck to everybody listening. If this is your first time going through midterm season, it may be weird and unfamiliar and hard, but you'll get through it. And then you'll get through it again next semester.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all I can say too. Good luck, everyone. It's going to go great for all of you. Just don't be stressed and it should go well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Joel, for joining us. You're a great guest, and we really appreciate you being here. But yeah, as always, you can check out our podcast at 5 p.m. every single week on Fridays on literally every single platform you can think of, as well as YouTube. And as always, see you next time. And until then, stay golden. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.